Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 23 driver career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we are headed to the home Grand Prix for a few drivers here in Silverstone. Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, just to name a few on that list here. Coming off of P6 in Austria, where we unfortunately had our first mechanical failure in the sprint race of the season with Aston Martin, and we ended up losing points to the championship leader of Fernando Alonso. We had breaking news from the Red Bull Racing team. It wasn't about Red Bull coming into this weekend, but it was about their sister team of Alpha Tauri that will be shut down and rebranded going into season number 3. We have the through the grid section of this race episode about lap 17 of this Grand Prix. The guys in the booth, Crofty and Brundle, are going to bring in Christian Horner from the pit wall to talk about it live. So we'll have to wait and see what they have to say about it. But so that's the news coming into this weekend. Alpha Tauri, it was rumored, no more at the end of the season. It's going to be a new team, and there is a potential clarification on the way if this new rebrand is going to be partnered with Red Bull or not. Maybe they'll be going their completely separate ways. We'll have to wait and see here and find out momentarily in the Grand Prix. I myself here, free practice 1, Friday afternoon. The car felt incredible. This was probably the best handling car I've had so far this season with Aston Martin. It wasn't the quickest on track. It was a top 5, top 4 car, as we expect with Mercedes and Aston Martin to dominate this top 4 area. But yeah, it was definitely, I felt like I had the best handling Aston Martin or car in general on this grid here. So we're going to fast forward to Saturday afternoon now, ready for some qualifying. No sprint weekend here in Silverstone, thank goodness. Personally, you know, the more sprints we do, the more I dislike them, to be completely honest with you guys. I just still, after all this time of, you know, doing sprints now since 2021, I just don't understand the purpose of it, especially when the Formula One is trying to cater towards my younger audience, and it's just like I don't get how you're going to bring us in by adding more to the weekend. Nonetheless, Q1, P7, easy cruise, but you can see Stroll, Tsunoda, Sargent, Ocon, and Bottas all miss Q2, and then Q2 for myself going into Q3, it was going to be a breeze again. I wasn't putting it right to the limit, just making sure I get through. We crossed the stripe, and it would be enough to just cruise through again. P5 this time, but look at this, Perez out, so Perez and Leclerc miss Q3, and we have got Nick De Vries as well as Albon again that have made Q3. Rookie driver Nick De Vries hasn't done anything all season, has shown up in Silverstone with, you know, I guess a target in mind, and of course a lot of determination to make it into Q3, but here we are, of course, making our laps in Q3, trying to get into that top 4. We haven't broken into the top 4 this weekend so far in qualifying in Q1, Q2. It's been improvement all around. It was P7 in Q1, P5 and Q2. P5, currently we would drop down to P6. We come through to start our final lap. De Vries there, currently in P8. What an effort there from the Dutchman, of course. 2 Dutchmen on the grid with him and Verstappen. We go purple, sector 1. So things looking a bit more promising here on this final attempt in Q3 now, as we would find a few more tenths of a second, going a little bit wide out of the long sweeping right-hander. And then we didn't find a whole lot more time, got very, very aggressive on the track limits, but a little bit of oversteer right there. Got very lucky to not get a warning. I knew that our chances of pole were now gone as we came through to the final few corners, but it looks like Hamilton is going to get pole here now as we come through the final couple of corners, and through the right-hander, losing more time. Not what we want to see. It's going to be P4 in Silverstone, so we still, you know, complete the objective, but the top 3 is separated by less than a tenth of a second, and then I'm half a second off. Norris, Verstappen, Gasly, Albon, Sainz, and De Vries, the top 10, as we're ready to go racing on Sunday here in Silverstone. Let's head to the grid.
Welcome everyone as you join us at a former Second World War aircraft base, now converted into one of the great motor racing tracks. Britain is one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every year of the Formula One World Championship, and long may that continue. This is Silverstone, and this is the British Grand Prix. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of Silverstone Circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, but the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Golden Boy, Norris, Verstappen, Gasly, Albon, Sainz, De Vries, Magnussen, Leclerc, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Joe, Bottas, Ocon, Sargent, Tsunoda, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me once again for coverage of today's race is none other than the great Anthony Davidson. We should talk about Williams. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Ready to go green? Not the most speed, but I'm hoping that the handling pays the big difference here. Now, we're going to be doing medium tires. Hamilton starts on softs, and so do several others outside of the top 10 mainly. But a lot of drivers up here on the mediums, too hard strategy. As we get ready to roll here for the formation lap, Lewis Hamilton in control, 2 British drivers on the front row with Mercedes locking it out. Let's get ready to roll.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
Thanks for the work, team. Home GP, let's get it today.
So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong?
Alright guys, thank you for the work this weekend now. Great car. In terms of handling, we just need to find a little bit more speed, but let's see what happens.
Yep, home Grand Prix for a lot of us today, mate. Make us proud.
Well, not a home Grand Prix for myself, but I do have family in the area. So you know what? It's definitely the closest home Grand Prix aside from the obvious Canadian Grand Prix for myself here now. So we'll call it almost a secondary because of the family ties here as we get ready to roll from Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. Hamilton, Russell, Alonso, myself, Mercedes, Aston Martin, your top 4 front rows lock out. We are ready to go racing as the lights are out, and it's a great launch from myself. We have an opportunity to maybe close in on Russell, but I'm going to go down into turn 1 side by side, wheel to wheel with Alonso there. He's looking for that 3rd world title this season here in his final season. In the background, we've already got problems. It's Sargent, the American. He's already had a mechanical failure. We're only on the first lap. We haven't even completed sector 1. And Sargent is out of the Grand Prix with a mechanical issue, so that might be the quickest mechanical failure I have ever seen in a Formula 1 23 game race. Now, as you can see, Pierre Gasly around the outside of Verstappen here now as they continue wheel to wheel, and it looks like Gasly in the Alpine might get the elbows out and muscle him out. Yes, he does. Through goes Gasly. Verstappen drops a position here now as we can continue to see a lot of diversity about 5th place on down in terms of that running order now. And I can tell you guys right now, I've already seen the R&D going into the next episode. I can't wait to show you guys because there are some surprises with the developments that come into the next episode. Here now is actually on the very first lap, get a warning for exceeding track limits. Under pressure a lot already from Alonso here. He has stayed on my rear diffuser this whole lap 1, and he is just going to cruise past me. I make it a little bit easy for him. I say, you know what, if you're this quick right off the bat, just go have it, and I'll see if I can stick with you. And then, of course, try to put enough pressure on him here and get around him a little bit later on. We're focusing on the end of the race, and it was pretty evident early on that this was going to be a walk-away kind of race for both Mercedes and Aston Martin. Lap 3, DRS now enabled, and look at the closing rate. You have to take this opportunity, so we're going to go to the right-hand side. We'll pass Alonso down into the right-handed, going a little bit wide off the racing line, but we stay ahead now, and up ahead it's a Hamilton battle with Russell, so both the Mercedes can't get away from each other, and then the Aston Martins here can't get away from each other, so it's really interesting to watch this play out right now. But Hamilton on the softs, out in front of Russell. Here comes Alonso, again lap 4 in that first DRS zone, looks up the inside here now as we continue wheel to wheel. I'm not making it easy. I'm saying, hey, you might have a pretty large championship gap on me right now. You might be leading the championship as well. But I'm here to fight. Even though it's his last season, we've had our differences in Azerbaijan. If you guys remember, we're here to fight and continue to keep our hopes high. As you can see, Russell actually going around the outside of Hamilton. And then as that was happening, actually, this was Alonso going back past me on the same straightaway again. So it's going to be a back and forth kind of race, of course, unless I just decide, you know what, instead of wasting time fighting, let's just ride and wait for the right opportunity. Actually, Alonso would open up a bit of a gap between himself and I here over the next couple of laps. Lap 7, you can see him now about half a second ahead of us as Hamilton continues to run in second place now. Mercedes would be, I'm sure, happy either way. Of course, we at Aston Martin started to make some good gains against Mercedes, but then in Austria, Mercedes kind of flipped the switch. They were the strongest team, and they're certainly showing that again here today. They have more pace than myself and Alonso. Look on the leaderboard. Alex Albon has gone forward into 5th place right now, over Verstappen, over Pierre Gasly, Lando Norris, Hamilton lap 9, actually retaking the lead on those soft tires here now. So Hamilton back out in front over Russell, and then this was me getting another gigantic run with the DRS on the same straightaway. We're going to look up the inside of Alonso again. Thank you very much for 3rd, but hold on, we run wide. Alonso goes back through, and he takes 3rd place back. So it's a 2-horse race is all you guys are kind of seeing in this episode so far, but it's a pretty fun one now, of course, as we continue on holding on to 4th. We will be pitting before Alonso. As you can see, Hamilton pits now because he's on those softs. Obviously, has to pit a little bit earlier. We're going to pit at the end of this lap here, so lap 12. Magnussen actually with mechanical failure right at the end of this lap, so actually deciding to go a little bit longer here and just wait and see. I was hoping maybe something was going to happen, no safety car or anything. So at the end of lap 13, in we come. Russell as well. Alonso's probably going to box at the end of lap 14. So yeah, we'll see how this pit stop goes for these hard tires. We're going to come in. Russell's already exiting his box and gone, so obviously not even a contest there. But the hards go on. Very solid pit stop from the team, and we will continue on after that 2.2 second stop. So Hamilton on mediums. So he started on softs, going to the mediums. He is long gone down the road. Look at the difference now between himself and even George Russell. He is well out of the DRS range. Alonso exiting his pit box on lap 15. Unfortunately, I was thinking I was going to be ahead of him. Not the case. It's about the same gap as it was when I came into the pit lane originally. We have very similar pace to Fernando Alonso right now, and you're going to see we're going to go back past him. I can't drive away from him. He can't drive away from me. Hamilton 9 seconds up the road, and as we approach about 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix, it's time to go through the grid.
Lewis Hamilton has won on strategy today so far, as he continues to lead with 10 laps remaining. We've got Red Bull's Christian Horner on the pit wall again today. You got us, Christian?
Yeah, I've got you guys.
Not a great race so far, Christian. What's the status?
It's just been that kind of year, Crofty. We can't find the speed. When we think we've found it, we lose it in the next Grand Prix. We're just focusing on next year at this point.
Speaking of next year, Christian, what's the deal with Alpha Tauri and the rebrand?
Yeah, man, I can say basically that it's more than a rebrand. We are selling the team, and it will become its own thing. No Red Bull affiliation at all. We do not have a confirmed buyer yet, but I am confident we will by the end of the summer break.
All right, thanks, Christian, and good luck in these final laps. That will wrap up a calm through the grid in Silverstone.
Well, I think Christian Horner really spilled all the beans right there and kind of what to expect. So Alpha Tauri, they're not going to have any affiliation at all with their rebrand and whatnot with Red Bull. It's going to be completely separate, so no junior program there. So I guess we're lucky we got out when we did and got to utilize Alpha Tauri when we did as well. But here we are in these final laps of this race. It's been a calm Grand Prix. A couple mechanical failures with Sargent on the opening lap and then the Haas Alfa Romeo car. But other than that, I mean, it's just been pretty calm. And I'm trying to run down my teammate Fernando Alonso in these closing laps. And Russell, he's trying to do the same to his teammate of Lewis Hamilton, who's got that medium tire advantage. Russell has been closing the gap, but he's not close enough to, be in the DRS yet and make a difference and close in on Hamilton for the victory. Albon P5 all on his own. Look at that right now. He's ahead of Perez by, 8 seconds, and he's not going to get past. What a drive from Albon, who continues to impress, and I think gonna be a threat for a big ride next season. Keep in mind, Alonso is retiring. We continue on behind Fernando in these closing 3 laps of this Grand Prix, closing the gap right up to the back diffuser of him here. Now I think it's gonna be game on here with Fernando. As you can see, it is, by the way, free to fight at this point in the Grand Prix, so no concerns right there. DRS wide open. Look at the closing rate. We're gonna sweep past on the right side. Thank you very much, Fernando. Russell only a second and a half behind. Hamilton coming to the final 2 laps, but still not within the range of the DRS, so it's going to be very difficult for him to obviously get an opportunity unless Hamilton makes an error, as I nearly make a big error myself, had being a bit of a slide right there. But 2 laps to go, in command. We start the final lap here in Britain still. Once again, same story. Cannot drive away from Fernando, and he couldn't drive away from me when he was ahead. Russell has lost time. He's now 1.8 seconds back on the start of this final lap, so I think we know that now means that it's going to be a Hamilton victory here, a home Grand Prix win, as we try to fight for this final spot on the podium. I think it's crucial to beat Alonso here today, but we're not going to do it by doing that. Wide on the exit there of the right-hander after getting some oversteer. Caught a bit of gravel. Alonso goes through for 3rd. Down to 4th we go. Through, of course, Copse for the final time. And we are in DRS range, so that's really where it's going to come down to. As long as we are able to stay within reach of Alonso through this section right here. Through the S's. Now he gains a little bit of time. We gain it back, then we lose it again. As you can see, we close in a bit more on the entry of those S's corners. We have the DRS. It shouldn't even be a contest. He's using all the battery he can, but it's still not enough because I'm using my battery and the DRS. We go past Alonso. Lewis Hamilton in control here in Silverstone. In these final moments, he is going to come through round the final turn. Hamilton wins again. I go defensive. Alonso has a look. It's not going to be enough. Russell 2nd. We're going to hold off Alonso with the last lap back and forth, and we'll get P3, the final spot on the podium here in Silverstone. We will absolutely take that. A hard-fought 3rd place effort there. I just felt like we had to beat Alonso after the last episode, even if it's by 1 position. Any point gain is a point gain. Perez, driver of the day. Let's head to the podium.
Well, they've done a brilliant job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the British Grand Prix. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
It has definitely been the toughest teammate battle that we have had so far in this career mode. If you remember back to our rookie season in season 1 there, last season, beating Yuki Tsunoda was not the most tricky thing. He only beat us a few times here and there. Other than that, we were, the top car at Alpha Tauri for, I would say, 80% of the season. However, here in Aston Martin, it's definitely been more Fernando on top, and, well, that's obviously shown through the point standings, where Alonso entered today on top. We'll see what the point standings look like now, updated in just a second. We know we gained some points today. We know as well, overall, for the 2nd weekend in a row, Aston Martin has lost out to Mercedes in the Constructors. We did get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix again, so that's 2 episodes in a row, and the 2nd time this season of fastest lap. Piastri gets points over Norris, so great effort for him, but you see Alonso ahead by 10 points still over Hamilton, Russell back by 24. We still have some work to do. 58 points behind. We got to get going here, because, this season runs out of Grand Prix quickly. 24 points, we are back from Mercedes. That is going to wrap it up for myself, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody.